Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just want you to know what a joy it is to be here with you, just to be here with you, to know that wonderful presence within us, and to live from this presence each day. A couple of things just before we begin today. First of all, I want to welcome all of you to our evening service from 6 to 7:30, the book study, The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Just go to study groups and scroll down to The New Earth. It'll be a joy to have you with us if you're able to do so. And then Monday evening, 7 to 8 o'clock, we've been working hard with our spiritual healing and activation. It's been very productive for many people. I invite you to join us, if at all possible, Monday evening from 7 to 8 o'clock, spiritual healing. Let's begin. My dear friends, we are moving forward in our spiritual understanding, not only as individuals, but also as a group. It has been quite a joy, and for many of us, an unexpected joy, to witness not just your own growth, but to experience spiritual growth for and with others. Many of us are now aware of what it means to be a participant in a spiritual community. This is big, to be a participant in a spiritual community. Much of our past has been more about individual growth, but now it is quite a lovely experience to know that many of us have a common set of principles and values. This common set of principles and values is the basis of today's teaching on accepting your divinity. The topic is the new law of karma. Again, you might want to take some notes. I will begin with a very brief understanding of traditional karma, and then expand the notion of karma into a wonderful principle of belief, and then conclude with the kingdom of God as your personal kingdom, a kingdom that we share with many others as well. Let's begin with a brief understanding of traditional karma. In a nutshell, the law of karma is the basis of all moral human behavior. It simply states that what you sow, you shall reap. It's unavoidable. The energy you extend becomes a magnet that attracts a similar energy back to you. In the simplest of terms, what you give is what you get. The problem for most of us is that we have accepted the law of karma for external behavior, but not for our mental, emotional, internal behavior. Let me say this again. For most of all, we accept karma as a law of external behavior, but not quite have accepted it yet as a law for mental, emotional, internal behavior. Let me explain. It's one thing to say that, well, if you don't study for an exam, you will not do very well. The law of external karma. Haven't studied, won't do well. Or if you don't show up for work on time or miss work regularly, you'll get fired. Again, external karma. Or if you do not treat a significant other respectfully, the relationship will probably end. Again, the law of external karma. What you give out is what you get back. While these external events of karma are easily recognized by others, many of us have failed to recognize the internal effects of karma. Let me go further. Many of us have failed to realize that every time we think negatively about ourselves or about others, every time we feel negative emotions such as worry, fear, or anxiety, every time we doubt ourselves as being inadequate, karma is still at work, just as dramatically internally as externally. Some of us think that we can fool the law of karma by pretending to be good on the outside, putting up a good front, but still very negative on the inside. We see this especially in the cumulative effects of karma. In the cumulative effects of karma. This is very important. Not dealing with the negative mental and emotional effects of karma often result in unexpected physical disorders, as well as the feelings of lack of self-worth. We wonder at times why we didn't see a negative event coming, often because we were unaware of the buildup of internal karma. This is so important. Let me say it again. We wonder at times why we didn't see a negative event coming, often because we were unaware of the buildup of internal karma. Additionally, not only do we have individual karma, but we are also quite affected by the collective karma of humanity. Especially in today's society, there is so much distrust and emotional separation, even in the best of families, that many people are just overrun with the drama of simply trying to keep their heads above the karmic waters. That the three major considerations of Buddhism, illness, aging, and death, become not only the common lot of mankind, but also include a lot of suffering in the process. For many, the bumper sticker, life's a bitch, and then you die, is the karmic lot. What adds to the dilemma of karma is that ignorance of karma does not excuse anyone from its effects. Every time the mind doubts, every time there are emotions of fear, one adds to the karmic effect. The phrase, "you can worry yourself to death," is truer than most people are willing to admit. Ignorance doesn't work with karma. Being miserable with others doesn't work with karma. Or others who support you in your negativity, that doesn't work with karma either. With the results of karma readily apparent, the question I think that most of us need to ask is, what does work with karma? What does work with karma? How do you tip the scales of karma in your favor? Yes, garbage in, garbage out, but also goodness in, goodness out, love in, love out. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? And for many of us, it is becoming, if not so simple, at least simply clear. Let's now examine this simple clarity. The power of good karma, which works in our favor, was the topic of last week's teaching, namely, being in the mind of God. It's being in the mind of God that brings with it the experience of God within our hearts. And it's the experience of God in our hearts that brings the good karma to us. In the mind of God, in the experience of God, in the experience then of good actions. Because we know that the energy of goodness The energy of goodness that we extend is the energy of blessing that will return to us. We understand this. Karma is a law of the universe. It is a law of attraction in simply another form. Whatever we focus on increases. Thus, when we focus on goodness, goodness increases. When we focus on goodness internally and extended, goodness increases. It's the law of moral behavior. It's the law of karma. But let's focus now just a little bit more on being in the mind of God, which is the basis. I am not talking simply about believing in God. There are millions of people who say they believe in God, but they are not in the mind of God. There are millions of people who say, oh yes, I believe in God, but they are not in the mind of God and do not have the experience of God. So what happens when you are not in the mind of God? Even though you say, well, oh yes, I believe in God. Don't you see? Such people revert back to those old behaviors of mind and emotion that continue to attract bad effects. Don't you see this? Perhaps you've been there yourself. You can say that you believe in God all you want, but until you are in the mind of God, in the experience of God, you will attract all the lesser energies of doubt and fear. Use this simple test. How do you feel when you are worried, doubtful, fearful, anxious? How do you feel? Now, how do you feel when you are in the mind of God? It's a simple test, but incredibly experiential. In the mind of God, you do not feel anxious or worried, but rather you are full of life. You are full of vitality. Your body, emotions, and mind hum. They hum with the energy. You never feel badly in the mind of God. You feel wonderful. And as a result, you attract wonderful energy. Quite a contrast to being in fear, in doubt. In fact, does it not make you think how much a part of our past life has been in lower energies? Even though things on the outside were pretty good, on the inside, we were often a mess. It's true. And it was precisely this messy inside that has resulted in difficult situations later in our lives, illness, aging, death. I feel that you are now understanding this and that you no more want to be in doubt and confusion, which only leads to more doubt and confusion. You want to be in the mind of God, which brings with it all of the creative joy of good karma. Well, Jesus, among many other wonderful teachers, has given us some really good news. He said that the place to look for the kingdom of God, the place to look for the kingdom of God is not out there somewhere, but rather the kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. It's within your mind, your emotions, and most of all within your heart. Truly, we have often neglected our thoughts and emotions in the past. We didn't think they were that important. Sometimes we even hid them from others. And sometimes, sad to say, we hid them from ourselves, lest we be found out by others, or even found out by ourselves. You know this past experience. It was not pleasant. But not anymore. Not anymore. We realize the importance of being in the mind of God for the quality of our lives. But like anything else, you must turn the key of accessibility to give permission for the wonderful mind of God to be your mind and to grow in good karma. And as you do, you will begin to appreciate the moral law of karma rather than dreading it. Rather than dreading you're going to get back worried, doubt, and fear, you can now expect to live in joy, love, and kindness. Goodness out, goodness back. Okay, now we are ready for the focal point of today's teaching, the new karma. Please take notes. We are ready to announce a principle that is vital to our future new karma. This beautiful principle is, you can have as much as you believe. The new law of karma. You can have as much as you believe. As soon as you say this to yourself, I can have as much as I believe. Is that true? Sometimes the doubts and fears begin to roll in. You have people saying to you, or you say to yourself, who do you think you are? Nobody's perfect. You're only human. And perhaps you not only say these things to yourself, but then you start to think about all of the incidents of your past where you did some foolish things, or you start getting those feelings of being unworthy again. And surely God doesn't expect me to grow in this energy. I feel so separated. But then, a couple of things begin to change. Please consider these next two things very deeply. First, you notice how good you feel when you're in the God energy. You easily now can go to that place where there is so much more peace, calmness, and love. And then you start thinking, maybe, just maybe, I can have as much as I believe. And then secondly, this thought comes into your mind. Follow it closely. If the thought that I can have as much as I believe came into my mind, where did such a thought come from? Let me repeat the question. If the thought that I can have as much as I believe came into my mind, well, where did the thought come from? You realize that that thought came from you. And yet not just from your everyday rational mind, but from a place much deeper. It came from your soul. It came from your soul. There was just that something deeper within you that said, yes, you can. Yes, you can have as much as you believe. And now a whole new process is beginning. Rather than allowing the thoughts of the past to limit you, you are now ready to expand your possibilities. And you realize that the new law of karma will apply into your future. The more you choose new possibilities from your soul self, the more that these possibilities will find fulfillment. I'll say that again. Yes, indeed. The more you choose new possibilities from your soul self, the more these possibilities will come to fulfillment. Or as we sometimes say, if you can conceive it, you believe it, you will achieve it. If you have conceived it and you believe it, you will achieve it. It's not just the new law of karma or the new law of attraction, but it's truly the new law of life. It's the law of the universe. As you sow into the future, you will reap into the future. It's the new law. You can have as much as you believe. It's wonderful. We just need to bolster each other in our beliefs of what is possible. In conclusion, you understand this universal law of life. As you sow, you will reap. But now you have begun to see more enlightened thoughts about the future. You are done. You're done with the limiting human thoughts of your past. And now you are sowing the seeds of your spirit. Actually, you are accepting your divinity into your humanity as your identity, fully human and yet fully divine. And oh yes, that new law applies. That new law that you can have as much as you believe. What an abundance awaits us. Together. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Well, let's begin as we normally do in our meditation by simply focusing on the breath. And allow the breath to bring you into yourself. Allow it to settle your body, to calm your mind, and especially to bring you to the fore. Please begin. And would you simply say to yourself, well, here I am. Here I am. It didn't take long to get to here I am, because that inner you is much more your surface you. And you know this. There's something within you that is becoming a little bit more what is outside of you. You keep your attention within while you express externally. Let's just take a moment, however, to go even a little bit more within you by simply placing your hand over your sternum and acknowledging yourself within your physical body, right behind the sternum. Ah, here I am. Here I am, right within this body. But I bet you're beginning to notice that the body is less and less determining karma. It's less and less of how I'm feeling physically, and it's more and more about how I'm feeling spiritually. Have you noticed that? It's as simple at times as before you have that first cup of coffee in the morning, you're waking up to the God Spirit. That's first and foremost on your mind. How will I be in the God Spirit today? It's not the first cup of coffee that wakes you up, but rather you awake into the God Spirit. But it's not just your body that has less of an impact upon you, but the external world. Well, you're certainly not oblivious to it and have been and still are very successful in it. The external world doesn't have quite the attraction it once did. You're not simply reacting to external events. They don't have the impact upon you as they once did. But rather you bring your own internal evaluation to the external event. Wow. What a difference. Rather than reacting to the outside, you now evaluate from the inside. Rather than reacting to the outside, you evaluate from the inside. You are breaking the old laws of karma. You're breaking those old laws by not allowing what is outside to determine you. You are much more determining from the inside. Well done. Well done. But now some new things have arisen for you. There are two major ones. The first one, you are much more now in the mind of God. I know it's hard to believe sometimes, but it's just true that that presence within you, you have come to know. You are much more in the mind, and especially in the experience of the God presence. Would you just take a moment to feel that right now? To feel this incredible presence that you have not left and are intimately connected to God, your best friend. And because God, the spirit within you, the mind of God, has become your best friend, it has become your spirit, your mind, your will. The second major breakthrough is now that you have rewritten the law of karma, not looking at your past, but rather now looking to the future. Karma was always from the past. The new karma you can have as much as you believe. You can have as much as you believe. This is the law of future possibilities. Do you want healing? You can have as much as you believe. Do you want to be happy every day? You can have as much as you believe. Do you want to bring joy to others? You can have as much as you believe. If you conceive it, and you believe it, you will achieve it. You can have as much as you believe.
I honor thee, I honor thee, Namaste, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee, Namaste, I honor thee. Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee, Namaste, Spirit, we are one. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor
We can have as much as we believe. What abundance awaits us. This is thrilling. Namaste.